Well, Aussie Jessica Watson sailed solo around the world starting in Sydney, and our next guest is hoping to do the same. But there's another side to her story. Sabreena Lachlainn is an American transgender athlete who's faced plenty of battles over the years and is currently fighting to enter the record books for next year's Sailing Challenge. Let's welcome Sabreena to Studio 10. Hello.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Great to have you here. Now, you were the first trans woman to play in the American Women's Football League. How rough was that in terms of how you were treated? Because you came up against a lot of opposition, didn't you?
I did come. Sorry, I did come up against a lot of opposition. A lot of the women that I played against felt like I didn't belong there. They felt like because of my transition that I was in a situation where the whole thing was a physical strength aspect. Reality was a lot of the women that I played against threw me around like a rag doll. I'm not as physically strong as people think I am. And I suffered during a 9-year career 11 concussions.
Wow.
Yeah,
We had the exact same situation in the AFL here, where there was a trans woman fighting for the right to be able to play in the Women's League. What are the sort of, are there protocols around, there's sort of certain hurdles you have to jump through? Do hormone levels have to be at a certain level, or is it just
There
whatever
were.
the code decides?
I helped write the policy for the Women's Football Alliance, which is the league that I ended my career with. And later, the Western Women's Canadian Football League contacted me as well because they had trans athletes that wanted to compete. And so we had to go through. The league that I played in required that I had to at least have been 2 years removed from my gender confirmation surgery, which I had been years before. I had transitioned in 2003. And one of the other things too was the hormone regimen. I had to have my medical records with the league office proving that I'd had my surgery, that this was my healthcare regimen, this is what I was doing.
Yep.
And I was even at times asked to even take a random drug test to make sure I wasn't taking testosterone again, which is really ridiculous when you think about the fact
So they're worried about the
I
fact
was
you've got
trying to
too
get
much.
rid of it in the first place, and then they're making
a lot
me.
of trouble to...
The hell that
Yeah.
you've had to have gone through to get to the level that you were, why would you turn around and...
Exactly.
It's just
That's
ridiculous.
exactly. It's silly, but that's the mindset that unfortunately we deal with right now with trans athletes, whether it's here or in the United States or anywhere.
Yeah.
The International Olympic Committee to this day is still struggling with how to incorporate a trans athlete and where should they fall into. Should they be a woman? Should a trans female be allowed to compete with other women, or should they be forced to compete with men because of the fact that they were born that way? And that's one
What
of the
about
things
if you
that's
had
being
a
fought.
transgender team? What happens? Is that because that's what you're sort of
That's
asking
been a
for with
suggestion.
this?
That's actually been a suggestion,
yeah.
but I rail against that because I am a woman, and I am who I am, and so.
You want to compete against women?
I'm proud of my trans status, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I am a female, and I just want to live my life and do the things that any other woman would want to do, regardless of what that past was.
You were a Marine.
I was.
Would you ever entertain, or do you think you would be able to go back into the military if that was something you wanted to do?
No. The military gave me the strength and the ability to survive. It taught me how to deal with hardships and adversity. So it actually it gave me the foundations for which I needed to be able to transition, to emotionally and physically handle what I was going to have to go through.
Could you serve in the military now as a woman, do you think?
That's up for debate right now. Unfortunately, we have a president who has said that transgender people do not have the right to serve their country, when in fact, if you're an able-bodied man or woman, whether you're transgender or cis, you should be able to go and fight and die for your country or fight for your country. It shouldn't matter whether you've transitioned or not. It's such a ridiculous argument when he uses the issue of not being able to mentally handle it, which is it's silly. And
It's a bizarre thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where
It is bizarre.
You're not allowed to die for your country.
Before we finish, just tell us, you're about to try and sail around the world on your own?
Yes, I want to sail solo nonstop around the world. I want to do it from here because every sport has its mecca. And Australia and
Yeah.
Sydney in particular is kind of, to me, the mecca of sailing. America, it doesn't really embrace sailing the way that Australians do. And
I think
just felt like
we're
if I
so
was
far
going,
away from everything too.
probably, but I just thought it just seems so much more fitting to go and try and chase a world record from here versus from the United States.
And
Just
even
fit better.
even now, there are people saying that your world record shouldn't be included as a female world record. Is that right?
There are some scattered people within the sailing community that think that I shouldn't be listed in a women's category, but it's really redundant because when you're sailing, especially solo sailing, it's you, your boat, and
you
the
and
weather.
you and the ocean.
Gender doesn't play into it. I don't care how good of a sailor you are. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Mother Nature is going to get the last word. It's that simple.
What are the rules as they stand now? Would you be included as a female?
I would hope so.
Right.
I don't know what the World Speed Sailing Records Council would say or how they would categorize that at this point.
Wow, so it hasn't been tested yet.
It hasn't been tested.
Well, we hope you get to break the world record from here.
Yeah.
New record.
We'll
Thank
claim
you.
you as ours if you leave
Awesome.
from here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And make sure you
Thank
keep us updated on your incredible journey, Sabrina.
will.
Thank
I
you for
will.
joining us. Good luck.
Thank you.